Hello and welcome back to my podcast. Angela Saunders here, and today we are lucky to have Jason Levy, who's returning to see us again and talk some more about his business setup. And Jason has a consultancy in Harley Street, and he is here to share some more information with us.
Hi, yes. Well, thank you for having me back again.
Oh, thank you for being here.
So what questions do you have today?
Well, today I thought we might talk about outsourcing.
Right, okay.
Because it's something that a lot of people who are planning businesses online or who have businesses online, they either feel that only they could deal with everything because only they know their business or their products better than anyone else, and so they feel they ought to maintain control. But a lot of the time I'm finding that when I interview them or they come from a consultation with me, that really underneath all that is a fear of, first of all, delegating to other people, or they've heard so many stories about outsourcing, they're afraid that they will get into trouble attempting it. So I wondered if you would share some of your experiences. And first of all, Jason, how did you come round to the idea of outsourcing, and what did you know about it beforehand?
Well, I heard of a book which I think is called The 2-Day Work Week. And it was written by...
Sounds good to me.
It does sound very good. It was written by a chap who was a real proponent of outsourcing, and at the time there was I think there was when the interest began in outsourcing in countries like India. He outsourced pretty much every aspect of his life, even his online dating and arranging dates. Although, of course, when it came to the actual dates, he actually turned up in person.
Didn't have a virtual attendee sitting in his place.
But he did. It was quite interesting. He turned up and he actually came clean that up until the point where he turned up, it had actually been somebody else setting everything up, and it's not the way that I would go about doing it, but it does show you what you can actually achieve through having a virtual assistant helping you.
Brilliant. Yes. I think if I had a date, I'd like to have the real thing with me.
Yeah.
And I think using a virtual system to arrange date is one step too far, but I like his spirit.
Yeah.
So did you know anything about the likely costs when you started up?
Well, I'd been to a number of internet marketing seminars, and they quite often recommended services like Elancer and Rent-A-Coder. So the only way to really get an idea of what you need to pay is to actually go on there, have a look at the kind of projects which are already out there, and that will give you an idea of the cost of any particular project that you might have, and really the best thing to do is just to write down whatever project it is that you want to get done, and it's quite a good exercise, because you have to write in sufficient detail that somebody with no knowledge of what you do would be able to do the job, and certainly enough information so that they would know roughly how long it would take them, and that enables them to give you a quote for doing the work?
Well, from the little that I know about outsourcing, well, in fact, I'm underestimating what I know, but I'm trying to explain it to people watching so that they can grasp what to expect. Some of the agencies out there, some of the online agencies, they ask you to pay kind of a deposit, don't they?
Right.
An upfront sum
Yeah.
against any work that you might be requiring from their people.
Yeah, that's right. That's quite a good part of the system, because once you have put out a specification of the job, and people then start to bid on it, you can decide which one that you're going to go with. You can actually go and have a look at feedback that they've had from previous clients. You can even ask them to direct you to examples of their previous work. So it's very similar to actually getting 3 builders round to quote you on building work on your house, and asking them, do you have any clients that I could talk to see what they think of your work? Except everything is there already for you. Once you do choose someone, you would then agree on the amount, and you then pay in a certain amount into escrow. So your project might have 3 or 4 stages, and at each stage you would put a certain amount into escrow, and then once the work is done to your satisfaction, only once you agree, then that money is then forwarded on to the worker for you.
Right, so you have the option there from the details that are supplied on the screen about that individual to decide on whether you like the price they're charging, or it's convenient, or they seem to understand exactly what you want, and maybe any systems that they're used to using, any softwares that they particularly propose to use or have experience of. And you do get a bit of background history, don't you?
You do, and that's one of the benefits of the outsourcing websites, is that you can see the kind of work that they've done before, and you can see the feedback from their previous clients. I've recently actually started using a site called Fiverr.com, and well, basically it is what it says on the tin. These are people who will do jobs for $5. It works slightly differently in that they will advertise the job that they're willing to do, and if they will also advertise extras. So, for instance, if you wanted articles written for your website, you know, maybe you don't have time to do it, or maybe you don't feel confident as a writer, there are people who will write articles for you, and they might charge $5 for one article, but then if you want 2 articles, they might advertise an extra for $3. You'll get an extra article, or for an extra $5 you might get another 2 or 3 articles. So so that's quite a useful website, and again it does have background on the people and feedback from previous clients.
Can we just clarify here that when you're talking about dollars, you're talking US dollars?
Oh yeah, US dollars.
Okay.
Most of the sites that you'll see out there have pricing in US dollars.
Right, thank you for clarifying. Now, how did you actually choose the person that you did?
Well, it has been actually quite a long process, and I've had several experiences of outsourcing. If I just backtrack a few years, I wanted to set up a website, and I wanted to have a CRM system built in. I wanted to have web chat built into it, and there wasn't any system which had both CRM and web chat integrated. Now I think I suffered from trying to do everything before I even got started, and not even knowing if it's something that I needed, but I just thought that I needed this. So I thought, before I even start, I'll have to get myself someone to code it. I mean, I have, in the past, I've designed websites and I've done a little bit of website coding, but it's been a long time, over 10 years, and I thought I'll just get someone else to do it, because they're current, they can do a lot quicker than me. So I found a company that will provide you with a virtual PA or a virtual website designer, and their sales chap said that they could do it, and I fully believed this salesman. So I took them on, and then sent the job to my virtual assistant, and then he said, "Oh no, I can't program, but I can design the website for you." So he did design me a very nice website, but he didn't do any of the coding, and there are drawbacks to having a website designer if they don't speak the same language as you, and I think I've alluded to that earlier.
Yes.
So sorry, I've probably strayed. So
no, it's very interesting what you're saying, and very useful to people watching, because they're able to see how it is easy to get in too deep, and maybe the attempt to do everything yourself is a mistake that a lot of us make. And I've talked about that in the past too. But yes, there are easier ways of going about it, and I think that that's the conclusion that you came to in the end.
Yeah, the trouble was, I put all my eggs into one basket. I paid quite a lot up front for this guy to work for me 20 hours a week, on the really only on the recommendation of their salesperson. So as an example, one of the problems I had was when I sent the specification through, I would say, please put a link here to a certain section of the website or another website, and rather than putting a link in, this chap would just put the text, "Please put a link in to this section of the website."
Oh my goodness.
So the language barrier caused a lot of frustration for me in that case, and I did actually end up getting a partial refund, I'll be pleased to say. Since then, there are other websites which are fully transparent, like eLancer and Rent-A-Coder, and you can see the work that these people have done before. You can see feedback from their previous clients. You agree the amount up front. You pay for the work as it's being done in stages, so you're much more likely to get the finished product that you wanted. My advice would be to put the specification down in as much detail as you can, and then you'll find that towards the end of the project, when you're doing the final testing stage, for instance, and sorting out the snag list, you'll find that there are fewer snags because you were quite specific in your specification. It's a good exercise as well because it really makes you sit down and think, what is it exactly I want this thing to do?
Excellent. And I'm always saying to people that can't consult with me, break down the job into smaller and smaller tasks. And I don't know if you think this is a good idea, but it was suggested to me that in the beginning you hire maybe 2 people to do a very small job and see which person that you have liked on the list of suspects, which ones turn out to deliver the best result. And it might be a way of wheedling out people that maybe aren't quite as good as they say they are. But in any event, the secret is breaking down the job, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
I think that's a very good idea, actually, to give a couple of small jobs to different people and then see which one does the best job.
The same job.
Yeah.
And see what the results are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the end, when you got it right, what was the result? Was it what you wanted?
Yeah, it was actually. I had a CRM system with a built-in web chat facility, and you could, if someone came to the website for advice, to ask a question, you could actually see the previous history of web chats, and then if you wanted to then book them in for an appointment, you would have their appointments history, you can have their sales history, you can have their web chat history. If they send an email in to ask a question or make a complaint, you can see the history of the what they call ticket system. If they phone up, then as long as you remember to actually log that phone call on the system, you can also make a note of what was discussed over the telephone with that client. So you have the whole history of that client on the system there.
Well, that sounds brilliant.
Yes.
Yes. And do I take it that these days you because your business's focus has changed, you're using a slightly different system, or is it amount to the same thing?
That's a very good question, because the drawback which I found when I actually got this software written for me, it was a bridge between 2 open source packages which were already out there. So it wasn't. I have to say, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. It did what I wanted at the time, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Meaning that they'd rather than having the 2 packages running and then bridging in between the 2, they incorporated one package into the other, which it does the same job, but then unfortunately you then have a bit of software which is no longer compatible with any updates.
Oh yes.
So now those software packages have both moved on, and so I have a bit of software which unfortunately is not compatible with any of the new updates. So would I do it again? I think I would. I would probably do it. I'd probably do it differently, and be more insistent that they did it the way that I wanted rather than the way that they suggested.
I think that might be something that people come up against when the person who sees themselves as the expert who is helping you decides that he can make decisions on your behalf because it's better in the end. But it might be a problem because it may not be exactly the outcome you want. And so under those circumstances, I think it's your negotiation with them and the rules of delegation, where you let them know at the beginning what level of authority they've got to make changes or make decisions on your behalf, and whether they can take total responsibility, whether they can take partial responsibility for this, this and this, and then refer back to you for anything that's not on the list that you've given them, whether they must refer back to you under all circumstances or refer back to you under certain circumstances, and then they know how far they can go in respect to making decisions. And it's about the authority that you give them to undertake the job in the first place. And I think that people viewing should bear that in mind too. It's exactly the same as if you were giving out a job to anyone visiting your office, and you tell them exactly what the limitations are of their authority to make decisions. So I hope that's helpful. And thank you very much, Jason, for sharing with us today, and for coming here on your leisure time and talking to us about your business and your business setup. I've really enjoyed listening to what you've said, and it's been really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for having me here again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming to my podcast and watching today, and I hope you'll come back soon. Thank you very much.